They believe that it is literally the body and the blood of Christ. Literally, it's not a metaphor. It's literally the body and blood of Christ. And who is Christ? Christ is God. So I'm eating God. The reality is, a lot of Christians don't even understand the Trinity. They don't even understand that the Orthodox position is that God is, or Jesus is 100% man, 100% God.
Did Jesus really want us making buildings with like his name on it?
Muhammad is the only one that we have evidence for, and God made it that way. Said this message will be preserved. It's a promise made in the Quran. You have the truth, capital T, the most important thing in the world. I started really searching it because I grew up with like no religion. I joined a cult in Costa Rica. That was a phase. I was in a cult.
Whoa.
I come from a real small place, and like most people were Baptist, most people were Christian, and so I got exposed to that. But I never liked it. It felt weird. It felt fake every time I walked into a church. I'm like, this is like, y'all are fakers. I went to a couple of different churches, and one of them was like this mega church, and I just like everywhere I'm like, it's all money. This is all like money and like just lame. Like I don't relate with any of these kids. I feel like I started eating meat again. I start feeling like a man. I'm like, I felt like I needed guidance. I felt like I needed guidance and structure for the first time in a long time. If I really believe this, like, if I believe this is the truth, I want to take it all the way, and I'm just going to become a priest.
Yep.
That's the best. What's the best thing? There's nothing better to do other than that. They believe that it is literally the body and the blood of Christ. Literally, it's not a metaphor. It's literally the body and blood of Christ. And who is Christ? Christ is God. So I'm eating God. Very difficult to try and figure out right and wrong on your own. It takes a ton of thinking. It's like impossible. I don't really know much about it, so let me check it out too. And I was watching like the videos Bobby was watching, and I'm like checking out other stuff. And then it was just kind of like, all right, well, that's like actually kind of reasonable. It's always just like reasonable. It's just like the most reasonable thing I've ever heard of.
It's so peaceful knowing like, okay, yeah, you know, the religion says this.
Oh God, my first fight, I looked so bad in this fight. I was fighting this Filipino American guy. Me and this dude were just like so stubborn, dude. Neither of us wanted to give up. Just beat the snot out of each other, dude. I couldn't walk for 4 days. I got 34 stitches in one fight. That's my high score. I never got knocked out though. I almost knocked this dude out. I almost freaking knocked this guy out. He was rocked. American football, dude. There were so many times I played like fullback and running back. There were so many times, dude, where refs blowing the whistle. I'm seeing stars. I can't hear anything. I can't see anything. I always say like I think this fight was harder for her than it was for me because she's having to watch her son in there like with some killer, Allah always provides, man. That's a really good thing that I learned from those years is like really you never need to worry about money, at least like as far as like having money to buy food.
Wow.
God provides, dude, every time. Just submit, bro. Quit thinking about it and like worrying about it. Trust God. Just trust. And it's going to be way better, way more fun, way easier.
Submit to what you don't have control over.
Exactly. And it like submit doesn't mean just do nothing. It means quit trying to worry about stuff you can't control. Exactly. Just focus on what you can control and just do that.
There's only one God worthy of worship, and to become just everything about it, like making wudu, like being clean, everything about it. I'm just like,
I remember having that too. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
The truth is scary though. I was smoking weed almost every single day. It was like a big part of my life.
Okay.
And I'm like, there's no way after this year that I'm not going to smoke weed. And so am I going to just hide it for forever? Or am I just going to openly do it?
It's not going to be perfect, dude. There's no perfect Muslim. Doesn't exist. In Islam, when you sin, bro, you don't tell people about it. It's not for other people to know. And actually, if you know that your brother has sinned, you should also make effort to hide that sin and not to expose him. God knows your heart. If you're honestly being sincere, God knows you're going to make mistakes. And God's going to, be your friend and not expose you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about your Islam, about your deen, about the way that you live. The only thing that matters is that what God thinks about how you live. All Islam is just basically managing that relationship. God knows your heart, and you know your heart, right?
Yeah.
So you need to pay attention. Like, okay, am I being sincere right now? It's a whisper from Satan, 100%. If it's keeping you from becoming a Muslim, 100%, it's a whisper of Satan. You're a Muslim, and then they'll see like how you look, and that you're smiling at them, and that you're just a normal guy. Their entire mindset has just shifted. Oh wait, you're not like a terrorist wearing a freaking scarf, and you don't have a sword. Islam is about the truth and acknowledging the truth when it comes to you. You just got handed the truth, and you look at it, you go, spit on it. Basically, you cover it. Get out of here. That's bad. That's Satan. You had it, bro. You have it right here. You have the truth. The truth, capital T. The most important thing in the world. And you go, bah, get out of here. Why is La ilaha illallah not enough? Like, why we got to go another step?
When I read the Quran, I was like, this all makes sense. Like, he is nothing but a messenger. What is the message? It's just like when I went to a masjid, and like that was the first time I went to a masjid was the first time I ever heard of hadith. Because I was like, what are all these books on the wall? He's like, oh, these are sayings of Prophet Muhammad. The world is below your mother's feet. That's what Muhammad taught me. I think, honestly, studying the Quran brings me the most peace, and it's ultimately the answer.
Just because you never met somebody, or just because they're not alive, doesn't mean that you can't like kind of relate to somebody or feel appreciation for what they did. My advice ultimately is just pray to God about it. It's always the best advice. Just be honest with God and be like, yeah, I'm like, actually, this is throwing me off. It's really weird. Please guide me to the truth on this specific topic, please. By affirming Muhammad was the messenger and the prophet of God, you're affirming all the laws that God actually gave to us. If you don't affirm Muhammad, you're just basically saying, yeah, I believe in one God, and then what? You could basically just do whatever you want. Muhammad is the only one that we have evidence for, and God made it that way. So this message will be preserved. It's a promise made in the Quran. Islam is kind of funny in that sense, where it's like very easy to come into, but like there's also things that you can say like, oh, I don't believe in the Quran. Okay, well now you're not a Muslim.
It's just like I've thought Jesus was God my whole life, like a man, and then now finally when I understood, like, wait a minute, like it can bring you to tears.
Like, yeah, duh.
It never made sense to me. Did Jesus really want us making buildings with like his name on it?
Jesus is the way to what? To God. It's like they're saying it and they don't even realize what they're saying. The reality is a lot of Christians don't even understand the Trinity. They don't even understand that the Orthodox position is that God is, or Jesus is 100% man, 100% God.
Christianity is holding our community together. Like it's holding all the friends that I look up to, all the people that I look up to are Christians. It's disrespectful to be like, Jesus is not God. They're like, that's literally, you're saying that our God is not real in a sense.
It's funny with Christians. It's like, it's this almost the same thing. It's like the only difference is that Jesus isn't God. It's good to say the truth, but you just need to know when to say it and when not to say it. You don't believe what I believe, and I'm not going to believe what you believe. You've got your thing going on. I've got my thing going on. The Quran says, who is better in speech? Who is better in speech than the one that invites? So it's also, at the same time, it's also a good thing to invite. Just invite. An invitation is very different than like heckling someone.
Actions speak a million. That was even like you thing, like people say you're not sincere. I'm like, well, or like, oh, it's fine. Like,
yeah.
Like I'll let you can think whatever you want. You know, you have freedom of thought. So I'll just let the time play out. Like, play the long game.
Anybody that looks into Islam and is like honest and rational to become a Muslim, it's a matter of time. It's not like it's gonna happen immediately. It might take 10 years. It might take one day. We don't know. If you study Islam and study it correctly, and you study it honestly and sincerely, not only will you convert to Islam, but you will be one of the best Muslims.
At the beginning, all I knew was the Quran. So when I heard about the Hadith, I was like, I thought this was the book.
Hey, what do you know about the like Quran only approach? And then you're gonna be like, I don't know, and then they're gonna want to talk to you about it. So you might as well learn about it.
If I had the chance, I'd bring even more ex-Muslims up. I was like, because you're gonna learn that the reason that every single one of them leaves is a reason that you need to learn.
Why fear like hearing someone speak?
Yeah, like the Islam, if you know deep down in your heart as a Muslim that Islam is the truth, right? There should be nothing and no one that you should worry about.
The point is to seek knowledge and to not stop doing that. It's like if you think, if you meet an ex-Muslim and you're like, and even they bring up a good point, and then you're like, oh, that's actually a good point, and then you just stop after that, like you just totally screwed yourself.
Why not listen to everybody? I don't know.
Yeah.
I find it
Just
alarming
the-
when people don't, or like, nah, don't let them talk. Like that's dangerous. Like, bro, what?
I wrote them all down, and then I went and just researched them, and I think it took me like a day or 2 days, and I had like good answers for all of them.
Like, how long was your dad searching Islam before he became a Muslim?
He was like, that's why when I started talking to him, I'm like, dude, dad, like you're Muslim. Like I was telling him that forever. I'm like, you're Muslim, dad. Already, like you're Muslim. You don't even know, but you're a Muslim. He's trying to find a Muslim wife, which is proving a little bit difficult for him because he wants to live here in Thailand and he doesn't speak Thai like at all. You just need to go to the mosque every day, 5 times a day. Go to a big one where there's a lot of men. Go there a lot. The men will start to know you. They'll start to see you. They'll start to recognize you. They'll start to trust you. Someone's got a sister or a mom or a daughter or a cousin, somebody. You can't push people into things. You have to like attract them into it. When you're parenting a kid, you're preparing the kid to be a Muslim is what you're doing. But the kid doesn't really understand God yet when they're really young. And you are basically their God. You are their creator. You are their everything. You need to teach them how to manage that relationship of their reliance on you properly.
Was Buddha a prophet?
I think it's likely, but you can't say for sure. It's likely.
Yeah.
It says in the Quran that there's a prophet sent to every nation.
It's Grayson here. I have a message for you, and the message will be different based on the fact if you're fat or if you're not fat. Anyways, I'm Grayson Brock, a 21-year-old kid from Texas. I'm just like you, except one day I stopped smiling and I said, you know what? I'm gonna change my life for the better. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I continue to wake up on the wrong side of the bed every single day because I'm that guy that was in the chat. Anyways, if you'd like to directly support free speech and the continued documentation of my life, you can click the first link below and purchase me a coffee. And if you're fat, use that money to get a personal trainer instead. Don't click the first link below if you're fat. W's in the chat.